You're a mum, you're a mum, you're a busy mum. Come listen to the Busy Mum podcast. Life hacks and inspiration for the busy modern mum.
Welcome to the latest episode of the Busy Mum podcast. Just before we get into this interview, I will be releasing new episodes each Monday morning, just like clockwork. Also, if you don't want to miss an episode, subscribe to my iTunes channel, The Busy Mum Podcast. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram. Just search The Busy Mum and you should find me there. Now, a word from our sponsor. Do you find that you hop in the shower, you're enjoying the lovely hot water dripping down all over your body, relaxation, no interruptions from the kids, and you think, yeah, I'm going to shave my legs now? You just pick up your razor and it's in just the most rubbish condition. It's rusted, it's full of soap scum or shaving cream, or even your husband has grabbed it and shaved his face and not cleaned it out. Gross. But you clean it out a little bit, you give it a go, and you end up cutting your legs, and now they look worse than when they were just a little bit hairy. Well, now thanks to Pins, the latest and greatest women's leg shaving company, you can have them delivered straight to your door. New razors all the time. But not only do they have razors with 6 blades plus 4 extra cartridges in the pack, but they also have a clear shave gel, which is slippery as hell and moisturizes to boot. The gel also allows you to see exactly what you are shaving, which is great for those pits and private bits. I've been using them now for at least 6 months and am loving it. Check them out at www.pinnspins.com.au. And don't forget to use the Busy Mum podcast code, BusyMum, to get 15% off your first purchase.
Clara, welcome to the Busy Mum podcast. How are you this morning?
I'm very well. Thank you for having me.
No worries. Thanks for being a guest. I really appreciate it. And for showing up on time, because a lot of people don't tend to show up. So can you just tell me a little bit about yourself? Like, you've got a main career and then you've also got this very interesting side hustle as well. So tell me a little bit about you.
Sure. So I'm a lawyer in my day job, or my muggle life, as I like to call it. So as a lawyer, it's a pretty demanding job, which I work at full time. And I, at the same time, have a side hustle, which is a party business. So for hens parties, for birthdays, for corporate events. And I've been running that business since about August this year.
Okay, so it's only just a fairly new enterprise for you then?
Well, the business is new, but I've been teaching hens parties and dancing in Burlesque for a really long time. So it's kind of an extension of that. And but I just decided this year that I really wanted to give it a go myself, because I've previously been, doing hens parties for other people. So I just thought it was the opportunity, and I launched it in August this year. Yeah.
Wow. So how are you finding your customers?
My customers, I find them through a whole bunch of different channels. I've had a few inquiries that come from just my website and my social media presence. So people will just submit inquiries where they want a party, and they'll get in touch with me. I found it also through some Facebook online groups where people were asking for a certain entertainment, and I just put my hand up and got the gig that way. So that's been really
amazing.
Great, especially women entrepreneur groups, where I've been able to find a lot of very supportive women who have, been really, really professional and great to work with. So that's one means. And then the other thing is actually Groupon. I've got a deal on Groupon, that works quite well. So I get a few people through that.
Yeah, I remember when Groupon was really, really popular. I think it first came out and everyone's like, have you heard of Groupon? Have you heard of this other thing? And everyone would be going like trying to get all these vouchers for things. But yeah, that's a good way to get business. I never actually thought of that. Like the other side of it.
Yeah, just for starting out, I think it's good. I've got a fairly short-term contract with them because I just want to see how well it works out. So, yeah, they're good so far.
Cool. And what type of lawyer are you? Like, are you a corporate lawyer or litigation?
I'm a corporate lawyer, but I also have a background in the arts. So I was working in the arts as a advisor and a lawyer with media and intellectual property background. So now I'm a corporate lawyer and I work in a very different field, which is environment and planning. So I've had a kind of very meandering legal career path, just as my interests have changed and I've gone on in my career. So at the moment I'm an environment and planning lawyer. Yeah.
Awesome. And I'm really curious how you're managing to do both, because my husband was a lawyer and he would not get home until like 10 o'clock every night. I don't know if it's like that in every law firm, but he was working ridiculous hours, and to create, like, we had a side hustle as well, but we would be working till midnight almost every night, both of us. So are you doing something similar to that, or do you find that it's not as like full on?
Well, one of the things I can totally understand that, when you have a side hustle as well and you're working as a lawyer, it really depends on where you choose to work. Mm-hmm. So some people choose to work at firms and companies which have those really long hours. I've been lucky enough to find a workplace that has pretty reasonable hours. So I get home at 6:30 and pick up my daughter from her babysitter, and then I will do some work after she goes to bed. And in terms of how I manage it, I think one of the biggest things has been routine and consistency, as much as I can have that. Mm-hmm. I'm not very good at it, I have to say. I'm not very good. When you say, are you managing it? I don't know if I'm managing it. It's so, it's so like, they're both so consuming and so fun, and at the same time, like, I get different things from being a lawyer and something else entirely from running a business. But I also think that, and also having a family and trying to do life and all of that sort of stuff. So
adulting, they call it. Hey.
Adulting, yeah. I'm not entirely sure if I have, balance or any of the kind of, it's definitely not a perfect art or anything that I've got nailed down. So in terms of there being an actual answer to how I'm managing, it's just a matter of doing things when you can and finding the little bits of time that make it possible to, answer clients. I've also got a really great virtual assistant who she's on board with me, and she answers emails and she helps me with my social media presence, because I really love social media, and it's one of the things I've kind of had to give up because I think a business needs a lot of social media and nurturing and all of that through engagement with people, and I just don't have time to do that. And so I've sadly had to kind of pull back from social media. So the way I've managed it is I've just had to choose things that are more important to the business, and also to be able to make it possible to concentrate at work and focus.
Because like I reckon the fun stuff, which is your business stuff, I'm imagining would take your mind off your work stuff as well. Like you would
that's right,
kind of like your mind would just sway a little bit, like when something else is exciting, just kind of do that. So just building on from that, like, just describe for us like what your typical day then does look like, if you've got a typical day.
Do I have a typical day? I do, in a sense, have a typical day because it starts very early. I have two cats. They both wake me up at 5:30 and try to get me up to feed them, and so that usually forces me to wake up, and then I'll try and have a shower and do my makeup for the day, and sort of have a little bit of, that's sort of the only time when I have a little bit of me time and a little bit of enjoyment time where I just get to listen to a podcast or have a cup of tea and do some journaling before the day starts in earnest. And then, yeah, that's the most typical part of my day, because then it's fairly routine, and I wake my daughter up and we have breakfast, and then we, watch a little bit of the Wiggles or Play School or something, and then we drop her off at daycare, my husband and I. She's at a daycare just nearby, and then I'll toddle off to work on the bus and get to work, and then it's the full-on day of the office, and it's go, go, go. And in terms of then what I do with my business, it really just depends on any given day what's happening. I mean, I'm sure from your side hustle experience that it's very unpredictable and you just don't know what's happening next. And so that's when my virtual assistant, Dana, comes in. She's so great at being able to just deal with things during the day that I don't necessarily have time to give to, but then I'll sort of have a bit of at the end of the day, I'll have a regroup and talk about everything, and then work out what I'm going to do with different parties that are coming up and bookings and all of that. So yeah, it's sort of not typical. I don't know if that's a good way to explain what I've done, but what I do each day, but it really does differ. So yeah.
That's all right. And with these parties, are you actually doing them yourselves, or do you have other girls that you get in to help you as well?
So at the moment, I am doing them myself because that's my background, and that's sort of another passion of mine. I really do like teaching people. I love doing hens parties and short courses. I've had a couple of courses for mums that we've run with Burlesque. I'm really passionate as well about how great burlesque dancing is for mums, because they, I don't know if you found this, but after I had my baby, like, it took a little bit of getting used to having a new body and having a new world and a new life, and getting back in touch with who you are and your sort of sensuality as a woman. And so I've done a few courses with mums where, we'll just gently start with a little bit of, bump and grind, a little bit of shimmy shake, like that's kind of
I love it.
The idea behind it. Yeah, and it's a really fun, like, nice way to get back into it. So I love doing the teaching, and that's kind of what I see as being, for me, the really exciting, important part of my business, that I can actually be there at these parties and be there at courses and meet people and meet everyone who wants to get involved with dancing. And so that's why I feel okay with delegating a few of the other things that I talked about, like the social media and replying to emails and that sort of thing. So yeah, I do like to do that myself. I also do have a great team of teachers though, and I also have a great network in the dance community of dancers who, when there's corporate entertainment, they'll do the corporate entertainment or party entertainment. So they'll go to a party and do an act or host a party. I don't do that anymore, just because I'm just...
You're one person, honey.
I want that. I'm one person, and I just feel like I want to have that time with my family, and also, that's not my passion. Performing is not my passion so much anymore. I love teaching. Yeah.
Awesome. So you're getting into the busy time of your business now then, around Christmas time. Is it picked up a little bit, or is it kind of like quite steady?
So what I found really interesting with it is, I know this is the busy season because I've worked in hens parties before, but I've actually found that because I launched in August, I thought that was a really great time to launch and people would start booking for Christmas, but I actually think that's even a bit too late. So now I'm starting to get bookings for January and February next year. So people are already looking ahead to the new year and thinking about their parties then, and hens parties. And the Christmas parties and corporate things have sort of been organised months before as well. So I think that will be something that will pick up next year, whereas at the moment it's more about, what's happening in sort of January 2019, which is really exciting because I'm getting those bookings coming in and getting to know people who want those parties and having birthdays and, everything next year for the wedding season in 2019.
Yeah, that'd be
yeah,
huge.
so yeah, it's huge, but there's a lot going on, that's for sure. Yeah, I just did a launch the other day for a lingerie company called Zala, and they did, we had a beautiful event with some burlesque dancers there. So yeah, there's a few things going on at the moment as well.
Well, let's just move
Yeah,
on
it's
with
true.
that. The next question. What's the best advice you've received?
Yeah. So I was thinking about this because, best advice I've received in terms of, as a parent and as also owning a business, it's sort of hard because so many people give you all this seemingly helpful advice, and then it's often advice that's so unsolicited, and it might be really helpful, but because you're getting it so much, and this is true of business as well, I think it's sort of similar because your business is a bit like your baby. So you're getting all of this advice about what to do, what not to do, and if you, I think, choose to take some of it on, then I think that's good. But the best advice is more that it's something for you to learn yourself. Business and parenting and all of that is something for you to learn yourself through experience and through making mistakes, and no one can really fully teach you about all of those things or give you advice about all of those skills that you pick up as you go with either business or parenting. So my advice, or perhaps the best advice I've learned along the road, is to listen to your own experience and to your own instincts, and to let that be your guide rather than there being a sort of hard and fast rule about anything. Because I think so often with advice, one of the issues with it is that people don't fully know your circumstances. They don't fully know what your life is, and so they're not the ones who are with you at 3 a.m. in the morning if you're feeding your baby or trying to calm them down. They're not the one with you when your client is refusing to pay or cancelling a party at the last minute, which has definitely happened to me. Like, all of those things have happened, and I've gained a lot of wisdom from those things happening, and I think that that's taught me a lot. And maybe it would be great if someone had along that path sort of said to me, this is happening now, this
will happen,
learn from this, this will happen. And so for me the advice is more like, take less advice and trust yourself, I suppose. Yeah.
Awesome, no worries. So you're now doing the entertaining for other people, but where do you go for your entertainment yourself, like on a daily basis? Like, are you watching Netflix? Are you listening to podcasts? Are you doing watching YouTube, going down the YouTube rabbit hole, as they say? Or like, how do you find your entertainment and your learning, I suppose, as well?
So for my entertainment right now, I am watching Seinfeld reruns on Netflix, or on Stan actually. And so I never watched that growing up, and it's just really fun to watch it now because it's still so relevant, and there's lots happening at the moment that I think Seinfeld applies to. It's quite timeless. And then for the YouTube rabbit hole, I mostly use YouTube for when I don't know how to do something. So I'll look up instructional makeup videos on YouTube, or I do yoga or Pilates through YouTube channels. So I love yoga with Adrienne. I follow that and do her classes on YouTube.
She's so good.
But probably the worst thing is that I go on YouTube and I'll just get stuck in like a Burlesque or a Britney Spears rabbit hole. That's usually what happens. I'll just start watching the VMAs from 2007, or the train wreck that was the Britney Spears performance then, or whatever. There's lots of different things that I'll read, and I like reading. I love reading as well. So a million different things that I do for entertainment when I can.
Are you a bit of a Britney fan?
I am such a Britney fan, but it's more like Britney as she's evolved. I feel like a lot of people who grew up with her, maybe, I feel like you can see yourself in her a little bit, because she, started off as like America's sweetheart, and then grew and went through her destructive phase, and is now like repaired and breaking and, doing
breaking again
things and continuing to, breaking boundaries. And I think what's so interesting about her is that, regardless of what you think of her music, she's actually a super hard worker, and she's been entertaining for her whole life. So, even now she's working in Vegas and doing shows, and she's got 2 kids. Like, you've got to think of her as a mum as well, like how she's managing to do all of this and, still be a performer. I just think that's a lot to admire. So, yeah, I really like Britney Spears.
and to aspire to as well. Like, imagine that. Like, if you kind of think, if they can do it, why can't I do it?
Exactly. Yeah, that whole balance. And, maybe not a multi-million-dollar singer or dancer or whatever, but there are different degrees and different shades of success. So she's an inspiration. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Who else do you turn to for inspiration?
I love Dita Von Teese, of course, the burlesque star. She's really brought burlesque into the mainstream, and so I think that's fantastic. I also love RuPaul because I think he's made drag really popular, and I think that's fantastic, and that's kind of another part of entertainment as well. And now it's like people love having drag queens at their hens parties, and I don't think that was so big a couple of years ago.
No, it wasn't.
So it wasn't.
Wow.
And also, I don't know if you've ever heard of Miss Burlesque Australia, but there was a drag queen who won it this year. So it's sort of very interesting, like, crossover there.
This is a new world. This is a new world that I know nothing about. Sorry.
Well, exactly. It's like, no, that's it. You get into it and you find that there's all these interesting crossovers. And so, yeah, those people. I also really like Angela Henderson. She's an Australian business coach who runs a podcast and a community online, and also the Flying Solo community. Robert Garish, I think it is. Yeah, so he's really great as well. And James Schramko. Are my kind of go-to for Australian business inspiration. Yeah.
How do you spell Schramko?
SCHRAMKO. Yeah.
KO, excellent. And moving on from the inspiration, what is your inspiration for dinner?
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I look.
My segues are getting worse.
No, don't worry. I'm with you. You know how when you sometimes have conversations with other mums and it's just like you'll talk about one thing and then a million other things will happen and you'll then come back to that conversation. But so for dinner, I was just thinking about it because sometimes my daycare educators make so much fun of me because I will be like, oh, tonight I'm making baked beans, or, I'm making corn. I'm not like the best cook, so my husband does most of the cooking. My favorite dish to make is like pasta with cheese, and I will eat that as well as my daughter. But my probably, if I could say the go-to is like spaghetti bolognese, because that seems to please everyone, but I don't know. These aren't the most healthy things. I feel terrible. They should be healthier, but they're not very healthy.
Just say salad. I eat salad. Boring.
Yeah, I cook vegetables all the time. Lots of salad.
The best vegetables to have are in those steamer bags that are frozen. You just put them in the microwave for 3.5 minutes. Boom! All your veggies in one hit.
Yeah, that's right. I did get a slow cooker recently, and I attempted to make something in it. What was it? I think I put a lamb in it, but I just like a lamb shoulder, but I don't know. I just put it in for too long and it just did not taste good. I'm not a very good cook. Yeah. And this is in a slow cooker and I somehow managed to
How do you stuff that up?
Anyway. Yeah, I don't know. I managed somehow.
That's all right. You can't be good at everything. No one is good at everything. Just remember that, and be kind to yourself. What's one area of
myself.
What's one area of your life you would like to improve?
Probably a bit more free time, like free play. How we talk about how free play is important for kids and everything. I think it's also really important for adults because, it's just that chance for you to let your mind wander and just explore and expand on anything. It can be creative or whatever. I don't know. I just love to do some more painting or drawing or something that's not with a goal and something that's more about, just having enjoyment of without an end point. So that's probably something I'll work on for 2019. Just having a bit of like a creative outlet without a goal.
Yeah, that sounds great. And yeah, okay. What did you do as a child? Like, what was your free play go-to thing? Like, did you do a lot of painting when you were younger? Like,
yeah, painting, and I think just random drawing and running around and dancing and all of that sort of stuff. So yeah, painting was definitely a go-to, and just craft. Craft. You always watch on Play School how they're making craft, and you're like, oh wow, that looks so fun and creative, but you never actually do it. You just kind of watch it happening on Play School, and it's like, yeah.
Or you do it once with your kids, and you're like, never again. Never again.
You're like, never again, because this is too hard. Like, where do they get all their supplies? And that actually took them more like an hour to prepare, and it's not as easy as it looks on TV.
No. Well, we make slime at home sometimes, not all the time.
Oh, wow.
But my girls love slime. Like, it's ridiculous, and it's the most messiest crap and I hate it. Like, it just makes me go, ugh. But they love it. They love putting glitter in it. They love putting like little foam balls in it, colouring it, And the other day, like, they like pikelets. I make pikelets a lot. So I made bright blue pikelets, and they were like, yeah, we love this. And it's like, what? Yeah. I just had to make them blue to make you eat them? Okay, next week, red.
Red, yeah, that's so true. It's so like the more colourful and the more crazy and messy and hard for you to clean up, the better. The more they will like it.
Yeah, exactly. So slime is my fear. What is your fear, and how do you get over it?
Slime is your fear. Slime is scary. That's true. I don't love slime either. But I think, if I can go deep again, I would say that my biggest fear is losing peace and happiness. And I hope that's not too sort of cheesy to say, but I think that, when I look around at my life, like, I feel very, very privileged and very much like I've got a great family and great friends and, a big support network around. And to have my daughter Daisy, she's almost 2, like, I just feel very, very lucky. And I feel as though I can't really take that for granted. And I don't want to miss feeling appreciation for that, because it can all go in a second. And so my fear is losing that peace and happiness, but also I guess that also makes me appreciate what I have. So it's kind of good to have that fear in a way, if I can did go off topic from slime, but slime scares me, as does losing peace and happiness.
Yeah, yours is more qualified than mine, though. Okay, I've got 3 quick questions, and then I'll let you get on with your day. Question number 1, what websites have you signed up to that you actually find value in receiving their emails?
So I love the Who What Wear website and the Birdie website there. It's like a Australian fashion sort of blog, and they have actually really great tips on fashion items and what's on trend. And I do not at all profess to be anyone who is trendy or anything, but I like to read it, and it makes me feel like I know what's going on in the fashion world and also in the makeup world. I don't know why I've been talking so much about makeup in this podcast. I don't know.
I put makeup on every day. I do. I can't help it. My kids say, you don't need makeup, Mum. I'm like, I know, but I like it, and it's my routine, and that's what I do. It's like brushing my teeth. Like, I always brush my teeth. It's just something I do, and I feel a bit naked when I go out of the house without it.
I agree. It makes me feel like much more put together, and also like it gives you that moment of, oh, wow, I feel pretty and out there, and I can just go out and, with blush, I am suddenly a complete person.
Well, you've got a nice, is that a dress or a top on? Like, it's really colourful. Like, my wardrobe,
it's a top.
It's not colourful, my wardrobe. It's like lots of black and whites and, not red. But that's a really nice top.
Thank you. I mean, I know radio is obviously, or podcasts are obviously a visual medium, but if I can describe it, it's got like all these geometric shapes, and I got it from Uniqlo because they had this
really?
collaboration with Marimekko. Yeah, it was super cheap. It was like $20, and it was this they had this collaboration with Marimekko and made these really great prints. So it's really awesome. So yeah, who, what, where, and also this sounds just on the topic of mums and parents. I really like the Raising Children website. It's the Australian government website that's all about about parenting, and it's just been really helpful when I've been freaking out at 3 in the morning wondering why my child is coughing or crying or whatever. So not sleeping, all of that. So that's been really great.
Okay, second question. What's one piece of advice you would give your pre-baby self?
Do your pelvic floor exercises.
Yes, I love that answer. So relevant. And then you'll be able to jump on the trampoline again. Like, seriously.
Yeah. I had no idea. And
no, neither did I.
Sorry.
Neither did I. And then I went on the trampoline and I was like, whoa, what is wrong with my body?
Yeah, I still feel like I'm healing and repairing and I've got abdominal separation, so I'm still trying to this is also why I don't perform so much anymore, because it's really hard when you lose that stability in your body. And as a dancer, that's been really something like quite a difficult thing to confront. And so I'm going to the physio each week and all of that, and doing, the pelvic floor exercises, and it's so hard to do when you're a mum as well. But definitely, if I were to talk to my pre-baby self again, I would say when you're pregnant, do your pelvic floor exercises.
Did someone walk in just then?
Yes, I was like, oh gosh.
Do your pelvic floor exercises. Final question. What is the most useful and useless baby item you have?
Most useful is my change table. Got it on Gumtree and spray painted it gold, and I love it. And it's just the right height. I don't have to bend down. It's like been really good for working with my all the stuff you have to do with baby, and still using it to this day. Most useless is expensive clothes that I bought in the beginning that I thought were so cute, and then also I thought, and also people give you as a gift, and it's like they get dirty in about 2 seconds. So I don't really buy expensive clothes anymore.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Clara, for being on the Busy Mum podcast. It's been a pleasure to speak to you this morning.
Thank you so much, Jackie, and thanks for having me.
No worries.
Thanks for listening to the latest episode of the Busy Mum podcast. Don't forget to let your friends know, and also subscribe to the iTunes channel, and also my socials if you want to see what I'm getting up to. A brand new episode is out every Monday morning, just like clockwork.